You can take the blue pill, you can click out of this video, you can just think it's a bunch of clickbait and a waste of time. You can go back to your life. You can go back to your same financial struggles, your relationship problems. You go back to scrolling the internet and wishing you could be who you want to be. Or you could take the red pill. Watch this entire video. It may feel a bit like Wonderland, but I will show you how to get everything that you ever wanted. And I will prove it with some of the most famous scientists in the world. This is the information they have banned for centuries. Early in the Matrix movie, Morpheus takes Neo into a white room, and Neo asks, "Right now, we're inside a computer program?" And Morpheus looks at him, "Wild, isn't it?" And Neo starts running his hands over the cracked leather of these two vintage red chairs in the white room. And Neo says, "This isn't real?" As Morpheus looks at him, he says, "What is real? How do you define real? If you're talking about your senses, what you feel, taste, smell, or see, then you're talking about an electrical signal interpreted by your brain." I admit, it sounds like science fiction lines, no bearing on reality, but what if I told you Albert Einstein laid the foundation for this movie line many years ago when he concluded, "Concerning matter, we've all been wrong. What we've called matter is energy, whose vibration has been so lowered as to be perceptible to the senses. There is no matter." So Morpheus is like Einstein here when he tells Neo that the chair isn't actually real. And that's why Morpheus says, if you're talking about your senses, what you can feel, taste, smell, or see, then you're talking about electrical signals interpreted by your brain. Now, Morpheus's famous line was probably best summarized by the famed physicist Niels Bohr. He pioneered the research for our understanding on the atomic structure and quantum theory, and he actually won a Nobel Prize for physics in 1922. And he said, "Everything we call real is made up of things that cannot be regarded as real." And in a moment, I'm going to get to how you can actually use this to get anything that you want in life. And right now you might be thinking, "Cool, Jake, what does this have to do with me?" And I'm going to give you a technique so you can bend reality. But here's the thing. Once you know how reality works, you can actually step into a parallel reality to get what you want quicker and faster. And the Matrix movie is full of all these themes on consciousness. One of my favorite and one of the most trippy is when Neo enters the Oracle's chamber. It's this suburban tract house, and there's all this cozy furniture, and there's a dining room with all this china on the side. It kind of looks like it might be somebody's cute grandma's house. And Neo follows this plastic runner rug, and there's this woman over the oven, and she's baking some cookies. And Neo walks in and he says, "Hello?" And the Oracle turns and says, "I know, you're Neo. Be right with you. I'd ask you to sit down, but you're not going to do it anyways. And don't worry about the vase." Neo says, "What vase?" He turns to look around for this supposed vase, and his elbow knocks a vase off the table, and he breaks it onto the floor. The Oracle says, "That vase." And Neo says, "I'm sorry." And the Oracle said, "I said don't worry about it. I'll get one of my kids to fix it." And Neo's puzzled. He says, "How did you know?" And the Oracle says, "What's really going to bake your noodle later on? Would you have still broken it if I hadn't said anything?" Now that question is where it gets interesting, because if you understand the answer, you can use it for money, you can use it to get your soulmate, your dream job. So my question to you is, would Neo have even noticed the vase if she hadn't brought it to his attention? This is the whole simulation theory, or parallel realities theory. In the Matrix, energy is never created or destroyed, it's only transferred into different forms. So the possibility of the vase breaking was already in the quantum field waiting for Neo. Even Einstein said energy cannot be created or destroyed, it can only be transferred from one state to another. What this means is that every single potential reality of your future already exists as pure energy in another form outside of this physical realm. Since energy is never created or destroyed, all possibilities and future outcomes already exist now. Kind of trippy, right? So reasoning back from there, I believe Neo used his consciousness to alter time and space via the observer effect. His observation of the possibility of the vase breaking is what activated the future outcome from the quantum field and brought it into his physical reality. Physicists refer to this as the observer effect, a wave-particle duality. In quantum reality, there's what is known as a series of probability waves. There's one where the vase breaks, and then there's another where the vase doesn't break. And there is infinite potential outcomes. So this means that when the particle is not being observed, it exists as a waveform or pure energy not condensed into physical matter. What the Matrix movie is pointing out in this scene is the very act of observation pulls potential realities from the quantum field and moves them into particles in your tangible physical reality. That your consciousness is so powerful that you actually pull from infinite possibilities, and you are what create matter. And this is why the Oracle asked, what's really going to bake your noodle later on? Would you have still broken the vase if I hadn't said anything? Now, before we get into how to use this in your life, let's be clear, this isn't just sci-fi. Werner Heisenberg, he's a theoretical physicist who won the Nobel Prize for physics in 1932 for the creation of quantum mechanics. And he said, quote, "The atoms or elementary particles themselves are not real. They form a world of potentialities or possibilities rather than one of things or facts." Now you see what's hiding behind the Matrix. But let's bring this right into your life so you can use this technique to escape the Matrix and create anything that you want in life. So instead of a vase like Neo that you observe as potential in the quantum field, pretend that it's money. Your belief in your five senses tells you that you're broke and you cannot become financially free from the system. So your attention to these limitations is what traps your consciousness, stopping you from choosing a new potential wave from the quantum field. So you keep yourself broke, or you make yourself rich by the same wave-particle duality as a Neo, observing potential realities in your mind and collapsing the wave energy into particles known as your reality. Now, the slaves of the Matrix, they think they're broke because of the physical world. They think they're broke because the rich people screwed them. Oh, well, I'm not smart enough. I didn't go to the right school. I don't know how to do it. I don't have the right people. They think they're broke because of what their five senses tell them, not realizing they are pulling infinite possibilities over and over to prove to themselves their thoughts of being broke. But it's not just money. The same is true with love, with health, with literally anything that you do not have. If your thinking and consciousness gets controlled by your five senses, then you will unconsciously collapse the same wave particle limitations that you perceive as reality or real, right? Have you ever met a woman who constantly claims, "There's no good guys left, I'll always be alone"? She's Neo in the Matrix, creating the same potential reality from the quantum field over and over and over. And that's why I'm so big on success hypnosis. My way out of the system and how I recommend that you do this is download my free success hypnosis. It's jakeshypnosis.com. It's pinned to the comments and in the description right there down below. It's jakeshypnosis.com. Now, once I learned about how the Matrix works, how reality works, how quantum theory works, I was 20 years old, had dropped out of college, I backpacked around the world. I decided I was going to become this big successful author, and every single publishing company said no. And what I started doing was imagining that the reality already existed where I had what I wanted. I already saw, it already existed. How could it not exist if energy is never created or destroyed? So whatever it is that you want, you do the exact same thing. And the success hypnosis is what allows your brainwave state to detach from your five senses, and you can practice entering the parallel reality that you want. The quickest way to do this is imagine a golden door, and you open the door and step into the new reality. So I'll close my eyes, I'll listen to my success hypnosis, and I will imagine shaking hands with a dream publisher. I'll imagine my YouTube videos going viral. And it happened. I sold 20,000 copies out of the trunk of my car, led to a TEDx talk, then a book deal with Penguin Random House, the #1 English publishing company in the world, and then a multi-million-dollar business. You can do the exact same thing because it already exists. So you can do it for love. You can do it for money. You can do it for your career. You can do it for your dream house. You can do it for your dream car. But you have to step in to the parallel reality in your mind first. And then that very observation of that is a real possibility is what activates the laws of physics that allows you to move it from an invisible energy state into a real solid matter, where people look and they say, "How the heck did you do it?" And you know the secret. You took the red pill. So get my free success hypnosis right there down below and practice stepping in to the parallel reality of your dreams. Now, if you like this video, I have another video on Elon Musk's simulation theory that I think you're really going to enjoy. So click that here, smash a like button, comment down below, I love this video if you enjoy it. I love this video. Thanks for watching. Get my free success hypnosis right there down below. And here's Elon's simulation theory.